Hello all the crazy people out there, my name is Michael, I like wizards and dragons and making games, and welcome back to making 3D wizard-based games in GameMaker. As you do, in the last couple of videos I have been working on creating spells that you can cast at things, the basic spell objects themselves, and refining them just a little bit to make them feel a little bit better. You can target objects that can be targeted by spells, that can respond to spells, with what I'm currently calling your wand, which is really just like the camera cursor right now, because I don't have a player in animations or anything. And you can draw like a symbol of the spell over whatever you're targeting. You can oh, where was I going with this? You can do things like that. And today I would like to actually get around to actually creating a real spell that actually does something in the game for gameplay purposes and not just boring setup stuff. And we're going to be doing push spells that can push things. I'm trying not to call it flipendo because that's totally what it is. It is really raining out there. I have a cactus outside and I'd like to bring that cactus in. I will be right back. That cactus, in all honesty, could have used a bit of a drink, which is not something you say very often, but all the same it is a cactus and I'd like it not to get totally soaked. Anyway, let's get around to implementing push spells. Let's see, the best way to do this, and the GameMaker workspaces. Such a mess. I think the best way to do that would be if I, let's say, duplicate obj spell. We can call that obj spell push. We can create IDE froze. Thank you very much. We can set up its parent information, so we can parent that to the spell, basically superclass. I don't need that event. I don't think I need any of the events. Alright, let's get rid of all three of those. The variable definitions I'm going to set up. Let's see. I don't need the duplicate variable definitions. I can just edit the original. The type is going to be push. Oh, nice. I've actually got like code completion in the variable definitions window now. The default velocity can stay there. The default z can stay there. Caster. That's not relevant. And the symbol. So again, I'm going to do my best to not just like outright copy flipendo, but if I can I draw like a boot or something? Actually, you know what? I think a hand is fine for push. This is the graphic for the push spell that I drew for Wizard Ducks before Moonin drew a better one. I think that'll do for now. So we can edit that property and we can assign that symbol. Next, if I go to I'm gonna have to like unlock this spell for my own use. If I go to the 3D object spell block, allow this to be pushed around. So the spell response is going to be spell push instead of just like the generic one that doesn't do anything. The parent spell class, if you will. And if I alright, there we go. So if I wave my wand, if I click over that block, we've now got a hand. That works. It's a little bit funny looking, but I'll deal with it. That is the basis of the push spell type. That's not the hard part. The interesting part is going to be creating the actual pushable block. So this object that I've just been having sitting in the middle of the room for however long now, I'm going to create a couple states for it. Let's see, I'm going to, how does snow state work? New snow state, the initial state can be, I'll call it idle, because that's what everyone calls their default states. We can add, let's say, a state that's called moving. Actually, first I'm going to probably want to add a state called idle. And those are going to be the two states of a spell block. So let's keep things simple. I don't want to make this a whole physics sim of its own. I just want to be able to like cast a spell on a block and have it like slide, let's say 1 meter in a particular direction. Even keeping it axis aligned, for the sake of my sanity, would be a good way to do it. I'm going to define actually, that can be a vector 3, I suppose. That's going to be a target, that's going to be a position, and we are going to have the block's position approach the target position when it's in the moving state. When you cast a spell on it, for example, where is the... See, this is why people don't like too much inheritance in programming. Because it becomes a pain in the neck to find stuff like this. And other reasons. There's a lot of other reasons, but this is definitely one of them. Anyway, so when the block gets hit by a push spell, self.target can be a new vector 3 representing our current position, plus, for the time being, what is the direction the spell is traveling in? That's like dot velocity, right? Alright, yeah, dot velocity. And we can get the direction that spell is heading on the XZ plane. We can say the target that we're going to move to is let's see, that's going to be an angle, right? We can say the distance is going to be 32 units. Distance times cosine of the direction. Target y can be our own y plus or minus distance times the degree sine of the direction, and target z can be our own z. And we can say self.state.change to the moving state. And let's see, I'll worry about collisions later, like if a block is pushed into something it should stop, right? That makes sense. I'm going to need, how did I do it in player? I gave everything a state that's like enter, leave, and update, right? Alright, so I'll call it enter, leave, and update for everything else too. You can say self.z or self.x is going to be, do I have an approach? Is there a built-in one? Oh, that's GameMaker. Let's do built-in object functions. One of those functions that you often like to have. Can I just steal this from WizardDucks? The approach function, which is just going to move a value towards a target value. And stop if it gets there. This is one of those utility functions that just get passed around from GameMaker project to GameMaker project. It's like lerp, but instead of doing an interpolation per frame or whatever, it's moving a fixed amount per frame. Alright, so we can say x is going to be approach current x, target x, and the amount can be, let's say, 50 per second. This is not perfect. This is more like velocity on each axis instead of total velocity in world space. But if you finally arrive at your destination, we can state.change back to idle. And of course nothing happens in the idle state. I'm also going to need in okay, so we're already executing our state update if one exists. Do I need to define an empty one for idle, or is that just implied? Can't remember if snow state will imply an empty method for a state if you don't give it one. I think it does. So I should be able to cast on a block and have that block move the moment of truth. Okay, you moved up in the air. Oh, I'm also going to need to update collision positions, aren't I? X, that should be... Alright, yeah, treating Y and Z and Y up and Z up and whatever. I don't like Y up. Like, I get why people use it. I do get why people use it, but I don't like it. I'm using it here largely because Unity. Okay, so that like if I push you in, that is working on each axis independently, which I mentioned, and which do I have a... Did I ever write a vector 3 approach? Normalize, project, min, max, floor, seal around. I did not. That might not be a bad one to do. Vector approach. Let me do that now. I can do something like this, calculate the updated position, and then just updated position dot xyz. I think that's a vector approach. It's a little bit more elegant than what I had before. Alright, so it looks like we're doing it. That looks correct. I can push that block. I can climb on that block by accident. I can, like... If I'm quick enough, I can climb on the block at the same time as pushing it, which is interesting. If I, like... Hang on, wait. Yes. Climbing on it at the same time as it's moving is going to be weird. I should probably address that. I can push it out from underneath me. There was some moving object code that I did not too long ago that I should probably make sure works with blocks that you push out from underneath you, but... Alright, I really should, like, backwards propagate the vector approach, to the 3D collision system, because I'm trying to, like, curate useful vector functions in there. I'm trying to turn that into the GameMaker vector library that I just use whenever I need them, regardless of whether or not I need the rest of the 3D collision code. Alright. Let me sort this out. Okay, that was fun. So I mentioned that, well, I mentioned a few things. Collisions, 1. Let's say... Can I, how bad would it be? How much of a mess would this be if I said... save your old position where you used to be, and then we can update our positions, and then we can check if our if we've hit anything. So we can check if our regular C objects have hit anything. I'll hardcode that to index 0 for now, but later I shouldn't. And then if you do hit something, just move back to your previous position. How bad would that be? I don't think that'll be too bad. What is it? OBJ game. dot collision world, or just dot collision dot check object. So if you do find a collision there, then you can just go back to your old position. Definitely feel like it would be better to like check ahead of time. Let me just see if this works first. If it works, I'll change it. If it doesn't work, I'll change it anyway. Alright, so I'm going to want to attempt to push this towards like a wall or something like that. So I can push you towards the wall. No, don't climb on it. I'm going to need to, Alright, so I can't push you like that way. Can I push you away from the wall? I can push you away from the wall. Oh, these don't slide against the wall either. You know what, that's fine. Alright, so that works. You can see the screaming in the console. But as I said, I think I'll keep movement aligned to an axis. And that will minimize the number of situations in which I need to really have something slide against a wall. It works, so do I want to change it? I knew that this was going to be the question that I asked myself. Because, like, either way, I'm going to have to take the collision object, I'm going to have to transform it to its new position, which is going to look different for different types of objects. And is that really going to be any less messy than what I have now? What if instead of Alright, I'll just leave it as it is. Because ways that I can think of like, fixing this and trying to check the position, check the collision objects ahead of time, just basically boil down to doing all the same math that I'd be doing anyway, just for the sake of getting rid of this like old X, old Y, old Z. Because I'd still have to recalculate the positions of all the collision shapes and move them back if a collision was found. Alright, with spheres it's nice because I can just say displace sphere and everyone's happy, but with these, not quite as much. I feel like we should be able to push you a little farther than that, though. And I also feel like it should move a little faster. Actually, 64 is two units. I'll work on aligning these to an axis in a minute, but... Alright, great. Let's see. To align it to an axis, I'm simply going to want to round this to the nearest 90, so how do we do that? I made a video on that a while ago, so that's going to be dir minus 90, and then round that result, multiplied by 90. I think. Let's see, so if I push you at like an awkward angle, alright, you're still going in that direction, and if I push you at like this angle, you're going to go in this direction. Alright, so we're aligned to an axis. We can't push this thing in any funny direction. And I definitely appreciate that it's moving faster because that makes it faster to test this, whether or not it's working. Alright, so we can push you against that, and you collide properly, and that's good. We've got blocks that we can push around, alright? That feels like progress. That actually didn't take as long as I thought it would. I've been recording for about 30 minutes, and I know there was a little bit of time cut out when I was doing that, like, vector approach thing and whatever. Do I want to make sure that the player can stand on top of these and have them move at the same time? I think I know how that's going to work, but I'm not sure if I want to do that now. So instead, let's check off pushable blocks. I did not get to boulders. That's going to be a little bit more interesting. That's going to involve them... Well, it's going to be similar, but instead of moving to a target, we're just going to move in a direction. I think I'll save that for later. I don't want this to go on for too long. Next time. Should I do boulders next time? I'll do boulders and barrels next time. Also, buttons, like flipendo buttons. That's fun. Make something happen in the world when you hit a button. I'll try to have more varied test models in the game for when I do that next time. I'm also gonna add that to the technical debt file. That's gonna be high priority, I think. It's probably gonna be a little more effort. Not sure if I'll get to that next time or if I'll just get to that, you know, eventually. But before the game is finished, it will get done. So, my name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. If you want the code for this, look for the GitHub repository down in the video description. Look for the 0.24 release. And that's going to be what I got done today. I try to post about 2 game dev videos a week. 1 tutorial, and 1 let's make a game like this. I probably will be getting back on that around now. Hopefully by this point I've done a decent amount of catch-up with this let's make a game series, so I won't be too far off the schedule that I tried to lay out for myself. Anyway, if you're interested in any of the weird things you can do in GameMaker, feel free to subscribe. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute to the channel, links to that can be found in all the usual places. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Army Armbuster, DJ Gibbles, Edward Holt, GameMaker, Gamer Player, John Luigi Celentano, Manta Ray, Sindra Larson, Squarecrow, Vitro V, and Zengiment for supporting these videos. If you want to contribute to the channel, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.